PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome spring and welcome to PACTV Community News. We have a full show for you this week with stories from our communities. We meet an aspiring model from Pembroke, visit a youth art show in Plymouth, and jump into a drum circle in Duxbury.
We'll hear about a New Orleans fundraising group, stop into a free dental screening for kids, and I take a plunge into the icy cold Plymouth Bay.
Town Talk brings Pembroke's town administrator to the set to give us a town meeting preview.
It's going to be a great show, and we begin with a powerful film showing in Kingston. Who would have thought that 92 years after being introduced to Congress, the Equal Rights Amendment still wouldn't be ratified in all 50 states? It's true, and it might explain why we still have a pay gap for equal work by men and women. It also might explain the exploitative way that women are still portrayed in our media. The Kingston Democratic Town Committee got together for a screening of the film Misrepresentation, which tackles women's equality issues head-on.
The Kingston Democratic Town Committee decided to pull together a community engagement program, specifically the film screening of Misrepresentation, which highlights how the mainstream media portrays women and girls in a disparaging light, and how those things affect our leadership opportunities, body image issues, and many lingering effects. The turnout tonight has been fantastic. We have a room full of probably about 60 to 70 people, and most impressive to me is at least 30% of them are men, and that was really important to us.
The issues of equal rights for women, equal pay, empowering our young girls and our young women in our community is something that I think is very important. And this movie, Misrepresentation, is a catalyst for us to have a conversation about what we can do here in Kingston for our young women and girls and how we can empower them and give them goals to reach for in the future, and to see that there's more than just typical roles for women, and that you can be beyond what you think you should look like, but that you can have power, position, leadership, etc.
I put forth a piece of legislation in the last session and refiled it again in this session in response to the reality that women are paid on average 78% of what their male counterparts are paid for the same work. And the difficulty in the legislation, the difficulty in creating public policy to rectify that is in the definition of equal work. And you need to be very clear, very explicit. And there are those, perhaps, who don't want us to be as clear, don't want us to be as explicit. So the legislation has created quite a conversation on Beacon Hill. It's a conversation that I'm not going to let die. It's a conversation that we have to have if we're going to be the type of society we dream of being.
The goal was really to shine a light on a pervasive issue in our society. And for me personally, one of the reasons why I gravitated towards this movie when we were exploring the options, I'm a mother of 2 young children, and I'm really concerned about the way our kids and young adults are perceiving all of the imagery that is around them 24/7. The media is so persistent and so pervasive and so damaging. And so our hope was to get to a wide demographic of people, parents as well.
Local model Aaron Higgins, Pembroke High School class of 2012, is about to make it big with his work at Down East Photo and Media. He's had shoots in Florida and Old Orchard Beach, Maine, getting started in what should be a highly successful modeling career. PCN went to the gym to work out with Aaron and hear about his career he is building and a message he has for those who might follow in his footsteps.
Excuse me. Back here with it.
I just want to get my name out there. I just want to go as many places as possible, get a good resume, get hooked up with the right people. If I land somewhere in a magazine, so be it. But I do what I like. I like being in shape. Modeling, is a great thing to do in that aspect. So as long as I can stay healthy and keep going with the photo shoots, that's all I care about. The photo shoots are different at first because you go a lot of public places. You got your shirt off and everything, and people are always looking at you, and the camera presence is different. But you get used to it. It's a long day, and that's what people don't understand. They're like, oh, you get paid to stand in front of a camera. It's like, yeah, that's true in some ways, but you got to remember, like, you're out there for like 10, 12-hour days. You travel different places, and it's a lot of hard work. And just keeping up with the fitness part, trying to look good itself, is almost like a second job. So they're interesting, but I mean, I love them. I wouldn't be doing them if I didn't love them. I do a lot of cardio-based. I do cardio about 3 times a week. I do weight training, but I keep it light. I never really go too heavy because I don't want to pull anything. I don't want to separate any tissues. But, light to medium weight, higher reps, pretty good. Just try to stay in shape. Got to do the abs like 3 times a week. I'm obsessed with doing the abs. But other than that, nothing crazy. Like I said before, I'm kind of crazy when it comes to training them. Usually every other day, or depending on what I had to eat the day before. I think you know what I'm talking about. I've lived in Pembroke my whole life. I've been with my parents, actually. I live right on Center Street, and it's an awesome town. I mean, it's kind of like the place where like everyone knows everyone. I kind of want to, as I get older, get a place there, maybe raise a family. You never know, but it's awesome. I mean, I've made so many friends, so many connections, and it's just a great town. I want to, eventually settle down there. I'm not saying like I don't want to travel to other places. Who wouldn't, right? You don't want to be stuck in the same place your whole life. But I'm saying maybe as like life goes on, as I get older, maybe get a family, settle down there. Wouldn't be a bad idea. Well, I've done a lot of fashion. And it was weird because when I first started, I used to be really interested in the fitness modeling because I used to see those guys like Arnold and everything, used to be like, wow, they look awesome. But then I kind of realized that, it's a little bit harder to obtain. And with the physique that I have, fashion might be a little more easier. And so right now I do a lot of fashion shoots, just almost the same aspect, just you're not as big, not as much flexing, a little easier, but I love it. Don't get me wrong, I'm 21. I like to go out. I like to have fun every once in a while. But, everything in moderation is awesome. When it comes to drugs, it's never been my thing. I mean, to be honest, I used to smoke my fair share when I was a kid. But, it just kind of hit the point where I was like, all right, this really isn't for me anymore. And then as soon as I was, kind of finished up doing that, I really took the gym very seriously. Exercise became my new thing. It actually, you could say, it became my new high. And, I haven't looked back since. So, I mean, guys, if there's one thing I could tell you, it's just, you kind of go with the right path. I can't control anyone from doing their own things. It's always going to be your own decision what you want to do. But, I mean, just take it from me. You won't regret it. My name's now on Boston Casting. It's like an agency pro website where they scout a lot of people in like the Boston area. If they contact you, if they like you, and like the resume you have, you can be like features and films like extras, or you can get like work for like commercials. It all depends. They have different things every time. But I'm going to start applying for a lot of things on there. I'm going to hopefully start doing some auditions, see where acting can go. I've been recommended to do it. I mean, why not, right? There we go. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. You'll never know unless you try.
It's not always easy to make it as a model.
No,
so
it's not.
This kid's really going to have to kind of bust his tail. It looks like he's trying hard, and he's got a good message.
He certainly works out hard, and I think he has a great message. Stay off drugs and keep trying.
Definitely keep trying. We also found some kids who were trying at art this time. PCN stopped into the Plymouth Center for the Arts on North Street for an art show featuring work by students from K through 12. There was live music, food and drink, and, of course, hundreds of pieces of art.
We are here at the annual Plymouth Public Schools YAM exhibit, and YAM is the Youth Arts Month show. March is Youth Arts Month, so we do art all year round, obviously, but we celebrate Youth Arts Month with a district-wide art show in Plymouth, and we do it here at the Center for the Arts on North Street. It's a great facility. We have a great partnership with them, and we have a show of work from grade K all the way to 12, and it includes all of our buildings, high school, middle school, all elementary schools.
I teach 6th and 7th grade, and one thing that I really like about this art
art show downtown is that it gets the community to come, and that it's surrounded by all this other artwork that doesn't have to do with Plymouth Public Schools. And I like the crowd, and I like how long it lasts, so I can actually take my family here when it quiets down instead of during the opening.
Well, I used oil pastel and glue to make it more shiny. I first drew the fish in pencil, and then I traced it with glue, and then I colored it all in with oil pastel, and so I didn't really think it would turn out this way, and I tried to make the eyes look realistic. When I drew this, I was thinking of making a masterpiece, and if I added just enough glue and not enough and not too much white, then it would come out pretty shiny.
As teachers, we get to see the parents and their kids interacting, and we get to see, the smiles on the students' faces when they show their parents the artwork, or even, the embarrassment that they might feel when they show the parents their artwork. So it's a really great experience, and I really have a lot of fun with it.
And it's interesting because I taught elementary school when I first started working in Plymouth, and I get to see those kids now because I teach middle school now. So I get to see past students too, and I know that teachers who have worked in the district for a while like seeing the kids throughout the years, so it's important.
Our main goal with the Youth Arts Month show is to really get what the teachers do in the classroom, and we like to get it out into the community so the public can see all the great work and the learning that happens in the classroom, and we get it out to the public. So that's one main reason why we do this.
The Duxbury Cultural Council helped to bring some noise to the Duxbury Free Library by sponsoring a family drum circle with renowned musician Otha Day. All ages were welcome, and all ages showed up. So did PCN.
The whole concept and practice of the drum circle took root here in the States in the 1960s, mostly with counterculture movements and jam sessions. The practice endured over the decades and crossed nearly every cultural divide. And if you're not familiar with what a drum circle is, at least the name is pretty self-explanatory. The Duxbury Free Library welcomed Otha Day as he hosted a family drum circle day.
With the biggest voices you can muster without yelling, say, Bunga! Bunga! Alapia! Alapia! So the big hug is...
Otha Day is quite a drawing card, as he was able to get all these kids to drag their parents out to the Duxbury Free Library on a snowy Sunday for what might be one of the loudest times they've ever had inside this library. The drum circle has taken on many forms since its early days and can serve different purposes and cater to specific groups. On a personal level for Mr. Day, drumming has had a healing effect in his life.
For me, the drums have served to facilitate my own healing. I've had 2 strokes, and with both strokes, I use drumming and rhythm to reconnect with myself, to be back in my body, to use the pulse of the planet, as it were, to help heal me, and using my heartbeat to be bigger, to say, you can overcome this.
On this day, the room was packed with people of all ages, from the little ones to middle school-aged kids to young parents and some grandparents. Of course, this is exactly what he wanted.
What I like to see when I do events is a way for the families to work together, because often there aren't events that families can do really that involves everyone. The parents will go and take the kids, and it's an event for the kids. I want the parents to feel like they can be kids again. I want the kids to see that the parents can do something with them that's really active and not just for the kids, but something that's really, truly, deeply involves the parent. Yeah, and making music is such a great way to do that. And drumming is the easiest way to make music.
There were also plenty of dads in the audience, which Mr. Day took note of during the session and stressed the importance of getting those dads involved in this process.
Because dads often think that they are peripheral to the family. They bring in the money, they help provide security to the family, but they're not really involved in the emotional life of the family. So I like for dads to sing and dance and play with the children so that they can smile, the kids will see them smiling, and they'll feel like they're involved in the emotional life.
You'd be hard-pressed to find any sour faces or gloomy Gusses in the room when it's all over. And of course, that enlightened feeling is just what he's aiming for.
Hopefully they're feeling excited and feeling wonderful and feeling joyous and feeling connected. That's my hopeful feeling, that they're feeling good in their heart. I want them to walk out of here singing Fanga, singing The Earth Is Our Mother, singing Wende Yaho. I want them to feel joy. Yeah.
Reporting from the Drum Circle at the Duxbury Free Library, Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
What a cool story, Brian.
It was a lot of fun. He was a really cool guy.
He looks like an amazing man.
Yeah, we had about, I don't know, upwards of 50 plus drums.
Wow.
Yeah, and all of us had to help him carry him in too, so it wasn't, but he was really inspiring, and I left there feeling good, even though I was driving into a snowstorm right afterwards, but he left me feeling good. And
everyone was smiling in that room.
You couldn't not smile. It was
Great story.
It was really fun. We also met some inspiring kids who are a group of high school students. They attend Pilgrim Church in Duxbury. They're working hard to raise money for a trip to New Orleans, not for themselves, but to help build homes for those who are still suffering from the devastating hurricane. We visited the church to hear more about their efforts and passion for this particular cause.
Our group here at Pilgrim Church of Duxbury, this is a congregational church, part of the United Church of Christ. And we have a youth group for the high school kids, and every year we take about 50 people to New Orleans to do housing rehab there. They lost 250,000 homes in 2005 to Katrina, and they have 30,000 homes left to rebuild in New Orleans, and we are raising money for building supplies. We leave here on June 27th, 51 of us to be exact. We will fly to New Orleans and spend the week rehabbing homes at Camp Restore. It's a Lutheran camp that was flooded in Katrina, and they've turned into a volunteer camp. They host 3,000 volunteers a year. There'll be 300 volunteers there with us, and we will do work on homes in the morning, like rehabbing houses, maybe putting in new tile floors, tearing out sheetrock, installing new sheetrock, building projects like that. And in the afternoon, we volunteer with some community-based youth organizations. They are excited. They are ready. They learn a lot. It's a very different environment from the environment here on the South Shore of Massachusetts, south of Boston. And it's an area of very gracious people that are very thrilled to see us come, and the kids learn a lot when they go. Learn a lot about giving their lives away. Here in Duxbury or on the South Shore, we have kids too from Kingston and Marshfield and Plymouth that come to our youth group. We're trying to raise around $6,000 to buy building supplies to take. That just helps us when we're there, do more building projects for the week that we're there. I think it opens their lens and widens their own view on the world. It lets them see there are other people out there other than people that look like them in the mirror.
Since 2003, the folks at Jordan Hospital, now Beth Israel Deaconess, have been raising money for the JHC Cancer Center at BID Plymouth by jumping into the ocean every March. In the past, they've been lucky to have decent weather in the waning days of winter. This year, well, we all know how this winter has been, but that didn't stop hundreds of people of all ages from running and jumping into the ice-covered ocean, all for a good cause.
If you've never been to the annual Jordan Hospital Club Polar Plunge, you'll have to wait until next year, because this year's plunge came and went in a freezing cold minute.
I must have agreed to do this a year ago, because there's no way there was this much snow on the ground and that much ice on the ocean last March.
It's true there were chunks of ice on the water, but agreeing to do it last year, I'd actually just signed up to do it when I got there. It must have been the peer pressure of the hundreds of other people that showed up to do it. Maybe it was the people dressed in costumes. Or maybe I just want to be part of a good cause. The money raised for the event goes to the JHC Cancer Center at BID Plymouth, which has already taken in nearly $1.5 million in the first 12 years.
The money raised here stays in this cancer center here at Plymouth, so it helps people locally. It's wonderful to give to the American Cancer Society and so forth, but this money stays here, and everybody here really volunteers. There's so many volunteers, or goods have been donated. If you go inside, there's Stop and Shop and the music and Hearth Artisan Bread, Mary Lou's Coffee. They all donate because they believe so strongly in this cause. It resonates so strongly with so many people.
The temperature up by the tent really wasn't too bad, and having all those snacks available made it pretty easy to want to stay up there. But down by the water, that's a different story. One stiff gust of wind could easily change a person's mind, so I had to know, just how cold is that water?
Way cold. This is, well, you can see there practically ice floes in the harbor. So that gives you an idea. It's probably hovering 34, 35 degrees. I don't know definitively, but it's very, very cold. But it's such a really fast experience. You basically, everyone gathers together, dash into the water, kind of splash around, and then turn around and come back out. So it's very fast and fun.
That's easy for her to say. Luckily, in case of emergency, there was an ambulance on hand. The harbor master was out on the water, and there were professional divers. Now it was time for the moment of truth.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Do it.
From the Polar Plunge, PACTV Community News.
Brian, how did I know you were going to jump in that water?
You know, we got to put this place on the map, and the little things like that. And of course, it was for a good cause.
What was it like, though? I've always wanted to know when you first. Is it just like knives going into your body? I mean, how cold is it?
To be honest, the toughest part is waiting to go in because it was freezing cold outside already. You knew the water was going to be cold, but we're dressed for the most part until about 5 minutes out.
Right.
And then you strip down and you're standing there.
And you're on
And then
snow.
It's like, okay, are we going in today? And then they finally did the countdown. If you heard that, they did a 10-second countdown, and then everybody kind of stutter-stepped. It's like, all right, 1. And then we stood there. I'm just like, go. And when I went in, it was heart palpitations. It was, I could die. And then I just got up and ran out. And
it's great. Yeah. Good for you.
I also want to thank our intern,
Bucket
Alyssa.
list, check, right?
it's done. I want to thank our intern, Alyssa, for getting those good shots of the hundreds of people running into the water. That was, it came in really handy. If you think running into the freezing cold ocean is scary, try going for a dental screening if you haven't been for a while. The folks at Harbor Health and Cottage Park in Plymouth held a free dental screening and a toothbrush drive recently for anyone 18 and under. PCN stopped in.
February, which was last month, we celebrated Children's Dental Health Month. And today, since the weather has become a little bit better, we actually offer free dental screenings to the Plymouth County residents below the age of 18. Actually, we have signed up 20 kids below the age of 18 to come in and receive free dental screenings, fluoride treatments, and also stop by and talk to our vendors and providers, get some free toothbrushes, learn about dental hygiene, learn about how to brush their teeth properly, and have fun. Our initiative is basically to collect unused, brand new toothbrushes, and then our staff at Harbor Community Health Center Plymouth will take those brand new toothbrushes and bring them to area agencies where there are a lot of kids that they are actually in need, and deliver them to those area agencies, deliver them to schools, deliver them anywhere where there is a huge need for brand new toothbrushes. I also have a 3-year-old, and we are fortunate actually to be able to go to a dentist. We have insurance, and I can bring my child as soon as he had his first tooth, basically to get his teeth cleaned. That's not the case for many of the people that we serve. Unfortunately, we actually did an assessment, and we found out that many of the parents who live on the Cape or in Plymouth County, they had a hard time accessing care for their kids. We're not talking about just poor parents, we're talking about middle-class people who work for a living, and it's very, very expensive to buy dental insurance. So in this particular case, we see a lot of middle-class people basically coming in with their kids to get access to dental care. As a community health center, we have within our mission to basically be able to provide those services to anybody, regardless of whether you have the insurance, you don't have any insurance, what your situation might be. So it does mean the world to me. It does mean the world that we're able to provide these types of services to just pretty much anybody.
We're here now with Ed Thorne, Pembroke's Town Administrator, for our Town Talk segment. Welcome, Ed.
Kim, always a pleasure.
And we have a town meeting coming up in April.
We do. Tuesday, April 28th. It'll be at the Pembroke High School starting at 7:30. We're trying to move it up to 7 o'clock so we can get started earlier. It doesn't seem to be a big problem. Okay. So, but that's where we're at right now.
Great. So let's talk about the budget a little bit.
Well, right now, the budget I presented to the Selectmen and the Finance Committee / Advisory is balanced. We're not using any stabilization or any free cash. And free cash is like monies that left over from last year or monies that could be left over for this year. In some states, they call it a fund balance. But right now, we're balanced. It's about a $57 million budget. We have some built-in cost of living raises for union and non-union folks. We have a certain amount of money that's been set aside for the school department. Basically, we had about $1.1 million that we projected in surplus revenue, and we distributed that $500,000 to the schools, about almost $400,000 for fixed costs, which is health insurance, property insurance, things like that. And the rest went to certain departments. So we're pleased right now that we're going to go into fiscal 16 balanced.
That's nice.
Unfortunately, though, we got the snow and ice deficit that will carry over until next year.
Was that real bad this year?
And that could be close to $1 million. But we feel that we'll have enough in surplus revenue to cover that at the fall town meeting.
Okay. Well, looks like you have a good plan in place for that.
Well, we're fortunate, unlike some communities that we see that are facing some layoffs either due to snow and ice or just rising costs in general.
And I understand you are sponsoring to purchase of some land across from a cranberry bog, or used to be a cranberry bog.
That's correct. Several years ago, we had a study done of Furnace Pond because that particular body of water is really filling up with muck, for a lack of a better term. And there's probably half as much muck as there is water, and we don't want that pond to eventually just die. And so we had a study done, and the dredging portion of the study showed that it would cost about $20 million to dredge that pond, and the bulk of the cost would come from taking it out of the pond and putting it somewhere, trucking it somewhere, or placing it somewhere.
What usually happens? Do you know?
Well, you got all kinds of variations. You could truck it out of there. It's about 98% water, so you're just taking water out of Furnace. And the cost was prohibitive. So we found out that there are about 10 acres of land across Matakeesit Street from Furnace Pond was available. And we saw that as an ideal situation to actually, when we pump the sludge or muck out of Furnace Pond, all we have to do is pipe it under Matakeesit Street and onto this 10-acre site. And then we can dry it out and then literally sell it. And it'll be pretty valuable on the market. So
this is one that you are
toxic. Doesn't have any of those nasty things in
chemicals
it.
In it.
But we think it would be a long-range project for the town.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and look forward to town meeting on April 28th. Correct?
That's correct.
All right, great. Thanks for watching. Replay times are listed on our website, PACTV.org, or you can catch us on YouTube by searching for the PACTV Community News Channel. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter so you can catch previews and links to all our stories. We'll see you next week on PCN.